Hello, good evening. It's Friday. It's just gone 7:30. My name is Richard. This is Over and Over Again. And of course, it is the weekly Arsenal Women's Show. A lot to talk about, actually, because obviously we couldn't have a show not a proper show last week because the game was on. So we're going to look all the way back to the Man United game. We're going to discuss, obviously, the Chelsea game as well. Great game that was. See where all the results the last couple of weeks leave the title race going into the final couple of months of the season. And we'll also have a look at the international break as well, which has been happening at the moment. Of course, the Lionesses played last night, as well as a lot of the other, obviously, players from both teams. So all that's coming up the other side of this. So it's the Arsenal Women's Show. I think we're on episode 18. I think that's might be right, which is quite a lot we've done, which is good stuff. Yeah. And back again for another show. Andreas, welcome back. You had a good week or a good couple of weeks. Well, you was on last week, actually, wasn't he? You was on the match last week.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I'm okay. I was in last week the watch along. It was really exciting for me. My first co-part in a watch along for such a great match. Yeah.
It was a great match. We'll obviously talk about it a bit later as well. It was a fantastic game for women's football, actually. A great advert for women's football. And it was great to obviously watch it along with you. And Matt as well is back again. How you doing, Matt? You okay? You had a good week?
I'm all right, although I should apologise to the Austrians and the Australians.
Well, they're quite close together, so, you know, it's easy mistake to make.
I was looking at one of the ones I'd written down for Caitlin Ford. So it was
Right.
Zinsberger, she'll save anything. Manuela, the Austrian queen.
Australian.
So not Australian, Austrian.
Right, okay. I'm glad we've got that sorted. We will look forward to, obviously, your new chant later on in the show as well for this week's show, which is going to be good, I'm sure. We look forward to that one as well. So everyone can sing that, of course, next week's game. And Amar as well, good to have you back. We can sort of see you quite well. So obviously the storm hasn't damaged your power has gone down.
Nah, the wind has been battering the area around, but yeah, it's been all right.
Yeah, it's not quite as bad as they said it was going to be, which is handy, really, because we wouldn't want everything to get blown away. Luckily, it should be moved away by the weekend when, obviously, there's a bit of football this week as well. So I suppose what to start, really, we need to go back, what's almost 2 weeks ago now. It's a long time ago, but it turned out to be quite a dramatic and controversial game in the end. Obviously, that game against Manchester United, it was a strange game in many ways, because in the first half we wasn't really at it particularly well. I didn't think we looked a bit sloppy at times, as has been the case in many games. Actually, the first half we seem to be generally quite slow starting, and then we went a goal behind, early goal from a set piece, very similar to the goal that they scored in the Cup against us a few weeks back. Wasn't it a header from a set piece? Again, it was Alicia Russo with the goal. Very, very poor defending from Arsenal. And it was looking a little bit shaky at that point, and a defeat in this game would really have set us back. But we came back strongly in the second half, and of course, we can't talk about this game without mentioning probably the greatest pass of all time. With Miedemeier to Stina to get the equaliser. I mean, what a fantastic ball that was. And, you know, that's what changed the game for me. Obviously, when Stina came on, he kept Viv on this time. They linked up together for the first time. You could see how great that partnership could develop given more time together on the pitch. I mean, Andreas, what did you make of that game overall? Because we did also have, of course, the red card for Katie McCabe, which I thought was a little bit harsh. I thought the second yellow card, was a 50-50. They both went for the ball. It wasn't, was it a foul? Was it not a foul? It certainly wasn't a yellow card for me. But anyway, once again, Katie McCabe gets herself in trouble. But what did you make of the game overall? Because with 10 players, we actually really stepped it up and played well in that last 15 minutes, didn't we?
Yeah, that's right. It's so long ago. I had difficulties to remember everything, but yes, the first half wasn't good, and it was typical for the last weeks that we became very, very slow in the match, and And then the goal that we conceded was also so typical for the last weeks, for the last matches. Always set pieces, corners, which we are not defending very well. And then, to be honest, I thought we will lose this match because we were 1-0 behind. Then the red card, 20 minutes to go with only 10 players. United had this big chance, when I remember this correctly.
Mhm.
I think it was Ella Toon, one-on-one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she did. Yeah.
If she scored there and doubled their lead, then I think that the match would have been over. But fortunately, we had this one special scene, and unbelievable this pass from Biff. And when you heard in interview after the match, they were talking before together, and Biff told Stina she had to make these runs because when I see you, then I'll give you a pass. Make these runs, and exactly this happened. So maybe it was like a birth of a new partnership, and for Viv the chance to prove that she is really a number 10, what she wants to play. Maybe Jonas realized it is possible to partner with Stina, but what he hadn't done before. I wish he would have brought Stina earlier, not only 20 minutes before the end, but fortunately she was in and was perfectly done from her. I mean, the pass was a sensation. It was the pass of the season, but you have to score in this situation with all the pressure, 1-0 behind, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. You must, and she did it. Yeah, fantastic, yeah. And in the end, we deserved this 1 point in the match because we never gave up. We came back. We fought. It was well deserved that we take this one important point.
Exactly, yeah, and we've not been maybe winning as many games recently as we were winning earlier on in the season, but the important thing is not to lose. And once again, we've shown. In fact, that's now 6 points we've picked up from losing positions this season. No, it's more than that, isn't it?
7.
9. It's about 9 points or something, isn't it?
9 or is it 9? I don't know.
From something like that, we picked up from losing positions because we came from behind to beat Brighton. We got draws with Tottenham, draws with Man United. Yeah. So it's been incredible the amount of points that we're picking up from going behind. We've shown a lot of character. And certainly with 10 players in that Man United game, Man United came into that game. We spoke about it, didn't we? What good form they were in coming into the game. I think Amar said they hadn't conceded a goal in the WSL since November, whenever it was, since we played them before. We were 1-0 down with 10 players in the last 10 minutes, and then we produced absolute moment of magic from 2 fantastic players and get a draw. I mean, Matt, you must have been delighted with not just in that game, but the character that we've been showing anyway throughout the last probably 5 or 6, 7 games. Even when we're not playing particularly well at times, we're managing to dig in and still get results.
Yeah, I always look back on that game against Birmingham, and it was an awful start to the game. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't, as it was coming back. Obviously, Birmingham have decided to come back on New Year's Eve to make sure they were more prepared for that game, and we just didn't turn up. But since then, we've just seemed to have turned a corner, and that's the most important thing, is that we've gotten rid of this mentality of just turn up and play, almost very Arteta-ish sort of style of playing. Just it can't be asked. We'll score, and if we score, we score. But the way in this game, I wasn't able to watch it, so I've only watched the highlights. But it's I think we're on the right track now. I've seen that against City. I've seen that against Chelsea as well, and obviously in this game against United as well. The red card, don't think it was a red card, to be honest. But it's just one of those things, isn't it, where things are going to get pulled up left, right, and centre, and cards are given out for no apparent reason. It was a shame it wasn't Valentine's Day, because maybe the ref thought it was. But the mentality of this team at the moment is brilliant, and it's great to see that we seem to be on the right track now.
It is, yeah, and it's funny because I think a few weeks ago there were a few fans on the forums and stuff, maybe criticising the team and the manager and the desire of the team. But you can't. The one thing you can't criticise them for me is their character and their will to win and the way that they just keep going and end up most of the time picking up a result. Yeah, the Birmingham game was disappointing. It was just one of them days where just a terrible performance from everybody, really. Everyone was off their game, and you just have to push that to one side and think, okay, that's done, and we move on. And since then, I think we've shown a lot of character in pretty much every game that we've played, and we've picked up some really useful points from difficult positions. And I think that's could end up being at the end of the season. We'll have to wait and see, but it could end up being the thing that makes the difference. We've managed to get those points against the odds in many occasions. I mean, Emma, I know the Man United game was a while back. I mean, you was at the game, wasn't you? What was it like in the stadium? It must have been quite tense in that second half, mustn't it?
Well, let's just say it started off pretty flat. I mean, when Russo scored, I mean, when you look at it back again, there was even a case there could have been a foul in the build-up. I don't know who was fouled in the box before it led up to the corner. Yeah, it was just a bit poor defending. I mean, Manu could have saved had there not been somebody in front of her, and then we fought back well. I mean, it was unlucky, didn't we, for an absolute wonder save from Mary Earps. We would have had the Miedemar would have scored the equaliser as well. And then chances were few and far in between. It was just tense. I mean, the fact that we were just passing at the back and no one was making the runs. It was just a little bit flat the first half, but in the second half, everything changed. I mean, I thought the first yellow card, in fact, was in many ways pretty harsh. But when you're on a yellow and you go in and you look on the replay, I think she catches Ona Badje on the shins. And when you're on a yellow, the referee's not going to show much leniency there, unfortunately. And she was unlucky. Even she tweeted afterwards, gutted. And I think people felt a bit for Katie. But yeah, as you say, that pass from Viv was unbelievable. I mean, when I was there, I thought, like, how did that ball get through the Steen? I had to rewatch it to believe that was just that pass. It was just ridiculously good. And then she kept her cool. And despite Earps' best efforts to keep out, she buried it. And that's as you say, that's what we like. We like this character of this team, whereas in the past maybe they wouldn't have had that in them to go on and win. And they survived that really poor miss from an informal Melatoon. And and then in the end, the point was a fair result, a really hard-earned result in the end.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I sort of said at the time on the watch plan I was doing, when Ella2 missed that chance to make it 2-0, I sort of said at the time that could be the turning point in this game. And funny enough, Katie McCabe got sent off almost straight after that. And then, Stina had come on just before, and then we ended up getting the goal. And that was a turning point, because had they gone 2-0 up, I don't think we would have come back and got anything from that game. That would have been it. So that, yes, we rode our luck a little bit on that, maybe, because you should have scored. There's no doubt about it. It was a poor miss, actually. 1-on-1 with the keeper, you should stick them away.
Could have gone the other way, went the wrong way,
Yeah, and then of course, soon after that, it was Stina in exactly the same position, 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, and she puts hers away. And that sometimes is the difference, isn't it, between winning and losing, or drawing and losing in this case. But that was a crucial moment. I mean, that miss from Ella Toon could prove to be a crucial moment in the title race. I mean, for Man United as well, because they're not far away, are they? When you look at the points they're on, and had they beaten Man City last week, it would have been even more interesting. With them. But that was, I came out of that Man United game feeling more relief than anything that we got something out of that game. With 10 players for 15 minutes at the end, and it didn't look like it was going to be our day. And of course, that goal was fantastic. And I'm hoping, and certainly we'll come on to the Chelsea game in a minute, but I'm hoping that maybe the way we turn that around and the way that we played at the end, that maybe that's the turnaround of the season, because we haven't been playing as well. We know that we haven't been playing as well for probably 5, 6, 7 games either side of Christmas. Our form had dropped off for one reason or another, and I just feel maybe that the way we finished that Man United game could be the turn in our form. And I'm expecting us now from this point to push on and start getting back to not necessarily as free flowing as we were at the start of the season. There's more pressure on us now, of course, when we come into the title race. But I think we're going to get our form back now, and I think we can push on from it. And of course, we did then head into that. Probably the biggest game of the season at WSL, probably the biggest game in women's football for quite a number of years. Actually, when you look at the two teams, where they are in the league, all that kind of stuff, it turned out to be an absolute classic. I mean, you don't get many 0-0 draws that actually have so much drama, excitement, quality, and from both teams actually. And it was for me, the game, yes, I came away slightly disappointed we hadn't won because we had one or two good opportunities, especially towards the end. But equally, I know we could have also lost the game as well. They had a few chances as well, didn't they? But I came out of that game feeling more actually what a great advert for women's football that game was, and for the WSL in particular. And it was just high quality, wasn't it? From both teams, some great defending. I thought both teams defended well. There was some great attacking play. There was just fantastic football from both teams. Really well coached, two well coached teams with very good players, both trying to win the game because they know how important it was. And I just thought it was a magnificent advert for women's football. Maybe at the time watching it, obviously I watched it with Andreas. It was quite tense watching it, so maybe you can appreciate the real quality of the game until afterwards. I've watched it back since, and you can see the quality of that game. If you was to not realise the fact that it was a women's game, you wouldn't have known that it wasn't a men's game because of the quality of the football. It was just incredible. I mean, Andreas, that's the second time we played Chelsea in the WSL this season. That's the second game that's been just absolutely fantastic. This was a different game. The other one was more open, more goals, a little bit more goal mouth excitement. But this game was so much quality, wasn't there, from both teams? It was just a fantastic game to watch. And how did you feel at the end? Because I suppose a draw was a fair result. We said so afterwards, but we could have actually won that, couldn't we, as well, which was a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, of course we could have won it, but I was not disappointed, not frustrated, because I think a draw was really a fair result, and both teams wouldn't have deserved to lose. To be fair, Chelsea also made a fantastic match, and as you said, it was well coached from Jonas and from Emma. I know that you don't like Emma, but you must give respect to her and to Chelsea,
of course,
because they had their part in this match, and it was a fantastic quality match, and it was just was changing one side better than for 10 minutes, 50 minutes, then the other side dominated the next 50 minutes. So it was, you can't say one team really deserved to win. Of course, we had our chances, and it would have been fantastic to score these situations when Ann-Katrin Berger and 1 minute later Millie Bright cleared from the line. Unbelievable that we didn't score in these situations, but Chelsea also had their chances. They scored, but it was clear offside, and then this was the handball situation, which normally would have been a penalty. So I think it was a fair result, and as I said, I was not disappointed. It's of course everybody with an Arsenal shirt would have liked to win, but it was okay. And for this match, we have to say we came better in the match than the last week's. The first half was Arsenal's half. We were better in the first half, and this was totally different to the last matches. So and in the second half, my feeling was that Chelsea was dominating or had more ball possession, but then there was 10, 15 minutes when we were better in the match. We were growing again in the match. We had these set pieces, corners. So I don't think there's a lot to criticize. The team showed fantastic character. Players like Steph Catley and Caitlin Ford made their best match in this season. All in all, I was satisfied with what I saw. It was an exciting match. It was a fantastic match for everybody who watched it. And two great teams and well-deserved draw, I would say.
Yeah, I think it was. I think a draw. I think you're right what you said. I don't think either team deserved to lose that game. I think that's the most important thing to come out of it, really. I know they could have had that penalty right at the end. It was a handball. And obviously in the Premier League with VAR, it would have been given as handball and we may have lost. But then we could have had a penalty in the first half, which Emma didn't seem to remember too much when she spoke about the decisions in the game. But anyway, so I suppose it evened itself out maybe over the course of the game. And I think that was the right result in the end. And maybe that's why the ref didn't give the penalty, because she felt a draw was the right result. And, you can't give a penalty to Chelsea in the last minute when, they didn't deserve to win. But yeah, I mean, it would have been a shame, wouldn't it, for that game to have been decided by something like that, really, wouldn't it? Penalty in that way. So it probably good for the game that it wasn't given. But I guess Chelsea won't think that, especially if we win the league by 1 point, and that could have been the difference if they'd got the 2 points there. But anyway, it was a fantastic game of football, and I think that was the most important thing to come out of it, really. And you could just see the quality that these teams have in the WSL. And even when you look further down the leagues, it's not just at the top 3 or 4 teams, but even if you go further down now, the quality in this league this season is incredible. The progression that it's made in the last year or so has been amazing, really. You know, and I say even some of the so-called weaker teams aren't really that weak anymore. They're able to pick up results and beat the better teams and give everyone a game. And you're not getting the silly scorelines that we were getting even last season, 7, 8, 9 nils and that kind of stuff. You're not getting that anymore. Even with the bottom teams, it's still a competitive league, and it's the improvements are fantastic. And I thought Friday night's game really showed exactly what women's football is all about in 2022, because that was just an incredible game of football. I mean, Matt, what did you make of it? It was a tense night, wasn't it? Because there were chances at both ends. There was drama. There could have been 2 penalties, as we said. There was, we had one off the line at the end. We hit the post, didn't we? We hit the post in the first half as well. So, but that first half performance from us, that to me, we looked like a team. We looked like a potential title-winning team, didn't we, in that first half in particular? The way we took the game to Chelsea and the problems we caused them, and we know what a great side they are.
Yeah, I was trying to look through the comments that I've made about that Chelsea game, but they've all gone through, so I can't find them anymore. But it was basically that the fact that everything was going through Caitlin Ford instead of Beth Mead.
Yeah, it was.
It felt more like they were trying to isolate Beth Mead. Well, Chelsea were, so that they could focus on Caitlin Ford, and we just decided to go with Caitlin Ford and Steph Catley going forward. So again, that penalty in that first half, I didn't think it was a penalty because of the way she fell down. Okay, yeah, she's clipped her, but because she's tried to stand on her feet and then she's also tripped up over herself.
Yeah.
On the stages, so
I'm going to be more honest.
It's not a penalty. If I'm honest, there was more of a penalty in the second half when I think it was Niamh Charles actually hit the ball went between it.
It did actually. Yeah, you're right.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
And it was very similar to Leah, where they could have turned around and gone, you know what, that's a penalty as well. But the ref was looking more towards the linesman to say, are you going to give that? And the linesman was like, no, not going to give that. So we got a point out of it. And I think this is the main point now, is that we played all of our tough games, really, if you think about it. Apart from the North London derby at the Emirates, which I'm sure we'll all be happy to be there supporting the girls. That's really it. We basically got the hard matches done and dusted. So there's not really much else that they can do now. But we're going to be it'll be an interesting title race, that's for sure. Now, I think Chelsea still have to play United, City. No, they've already played City.
Twice.
They have to. They've got games in hand, left, right, and centre. But that's down to them being COVID. Unsafe and this, that, and the other. But it's ridiculous. But
it's funny because you normally predict that we're going to lose every game, and you are saying we're going to win our last 8 games easily. We've got nothing to worry about.
I'm not saying we're going to win. I'm not saying that. I'm not putting that on. It's just we're over the hill now, and it's just like you can enjoy it without being like, oh crud, we've got Man City next, and they're on a 8-win run, and they've got Chelsea next week in the League Cup final or anything like that. We don't have to worry about anything like that. We can just sort of play to our strengths, or at least, Jonas, if you are listening, although I highly doubt you are, try and get the girls to score in the first half would be a start, not just in an FA Cup game. That would be very much appreciated.
Yeah, an early goal would be nice, wouldn't it? I can't remember last time we scored. Even the one in the FA Cup was in the 44th minute. It wasn't like we scored early on, was it? So, we do seem to struggle in the first half. Well, to score, I mean, obviously, I thought we played well in the first half against Chelsea, but, we
should have scored.
Yeah, we just can't seem to get a goal, can we, early on in the game and settle us down? And then it almost feels like every game we're almost chasing, chasing a win if we're drawing, or we're trying to chase to get back into it if we're losing, rather than being nice and comfortable like we were early in the season. We were 2 or 3-0 up in games. We could be comfortable, relax, and play our football. And that doesn't seem to be happening anymore, and it is quite tense. And I'd like to think that we've got 8 games left in the league, and we can go out and win them all. And I don't see on paper you look at it and you think potentially we could, but as I said before, the WSL this season is so unpredictable, and there's so many. So much improvements from the so-called lesser teams. I don't think it's going to be that straightforward for us. I don't think it's going to be that straightforward for Chelsea. I think both of us will come on to that a bit later, but I think both of us could potentially drop points as well. And I don't think we can just tell us, okay, we're going to win all our games and that's it. I don't think it's going to be quite as straightforward as that, but we'll have to see. Hopefully we do. I mean, Emma, what did you make of that Chelsea game? Because that was a very, very tense night, and it was a very difficult game to enjoy at the time because of how much it mattered and how tight it was. But it was a great game of football ultimately, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was just, if you're watching that for the first time and you're thinking, oh, how's this game ended 0-0? As you said, you wouldn't think it was a women's game. It had absolutely everything. No one even mentions the fact that Sam Kerr an air shot, which you don't see very often. Frank Kirby's ice one over the bar in the 3rd minute. I was pleased with the way we were able to take the game to them in the first half. If we'd just been a little bit better in the final third, and Blackstenius had a header where she could maybe have glanced it at the corner and hit the post. But I was reading, in fact, on the Telegraph the other day, Tom Gary, who's a really good reporter himself, is saying the change in the shape, and also the fact that he's played Blackstenius as more the centre forward with Viv as more of a number 10. You can tell that's how it's going to work with Ford and Mead on either side, maybe built more like a front 4. So that was quite good. I mean, they could get themselves in the game more often. Even the lack of goals is a little bit concerning. I was pleased with the fact that also that the back line was very solid. Once again, Rafaela was very good. Steph had her best game in Arsenal shirt. And Leah was a little bit on edge. I remember when Manu made a save in the second half, she went for it. Then Marit said absolutely everything. I mean, it was thriller-minute stuff, and you wouldn't think that was a 0-0 game if you watched that back. It was just a fantastic advert for the women's game. And I mean, whatever happens between now and the end of the season, I still think Reading is quite a tricky game we've got. But other than that, and Spurs, I think all the other games are winnable. So, I mean, I'm interested to see what happens, but we definitely could do with the scoring goals earlier like we were in the first half of the season.
Yeah, no, it certainly makes it a little bit more comfortable watching, I suppose, earlier in the season than it has done in recent games. But ultimately, it's been exciting lately. That's for sure. Intense, and we haven't been able to relax, which in a way makes it more exciting, I guess. But I think we'd all settle for a few 5-0 wins between now and the end of the season just to settle us all down a little bit. We've got a comment in the chat there from Sang Yup Lee says, "Good evening, gentlemen." Good evening yourself. Chelsea ladies fan here in peace to check out your pod. No, we're talking about the Arsenal Chelsea game last week, and of course we don't, we don't want Chelsea to win, do we? Of course we don't. But as Andrea said, and he's right. We have to respect what Chelsea have done in women's football over the last few years, and we have to respect them as a team. And you saw that last week. It was just a great game of football, and two teams that were at the top of their game, playing at their maximum level, and both trying to win the game. And it just turned out to be a draw, which I thought was a fair result. I think we all think it was a fair result. It was great to see a game like that in the WSL, and I think that's the most important thing, isn't it? As much as we want Arsenal to win the leagues and win the cups and everything else, ultimately the most important thing is that the women's game is going to continue to grow and improve, and we're a big part of that as well. And there's a comment there that says that game, I have silver hair now. Yeah, I think we all lost a bit of hair watching that game.
My heart wave was through the roof.
Yeah, it was very tense, but it was exciting as well, wasn't it? And it was a great game to watch. Terry's in the chat as well. He says, "Good evening, Richard, Andreas, Amar. Nice haircut, looking smart." Yeah, it's a nice haircut. He didn't have any numbers put in it, but anyway, we'll let him off. And he says, "An MMM77, hope all's well and no damage done to your car."
Yeah, same.
No, we've been okay in the storm so far.
Yeah, I was going to say, hope you're not affected by it.
Yeah, I think it might be heading Andreas's way actually, because it was moving into Europe. Wasn't it, I think it was more Scandinavia, so it might miss out on mainland Europe, perhaps. And hopefully Andreas is clear. But it hasn't been much fun the last few days. It has been quite windy, but we've survived and we're still here. And hopefully that's the end of it now. We can spring's coming anyway, isn't it? It'll be March soon next week, and spring will be here, and the longer nights and brighter days, everything like that. It's going to be much better, so we can forget all that terrible weather. But yeah, it's been probably worse for you, Terry. Actually, where you are, I would have thought you probably had it worse than I did. But anyway, the good news is it's on its way out. So. And it didn't affect the football too much, did it? Because we never had a game, which is always nice. But yeah, I mean, I say the Chelsea game was was fantastic, and it just goes to show the levels now in the women's game are just going through the roof, and it's great. It's great to watch. I mean, obviously that game could be significant. Maybe not as significant in the title race if either team had won. I think that would have been a big statement either way. Still an important result, but just really want to look at now. Obviously, we've got 8 games left. Chelsea have got 9. Man United have got 8, and even Tottenham are still in it, aren't they? So just really want to look at where we think the title race is going to be won and lost over the next couple of months. So, of course, Matt thinks we're going to win all our games 5-0, which is great. But I'm sure it won't be quite like that. I mean, yes, I agree with what Amar said. Obviously, the Tottenham game and the Reading game are both going to be. They stand out as the 2 difficult games. Although Reading did lose 4-1 against Brighton last weekend to win their good run, but those 2 games stick out, don't they, as being the most difficult ones. But even all the other games to me have got potential to be difficult. Leicester are on a good run of form now. They've picked up. They seem to have settled in the WSL. Yes. We've got to go away to them. I think that's going to be a tricky game. Birmingham beat us. I know we've got them at home. We're going to start massive favourites, but we had trouble with them before. They played well against us. I don't think any game's going to be easy. But look at Chelsea, and they've got to play that Tottenham twice, for example, home and away. Man United, they've still got to play at home. Man United will be still battling for that 3rd spot. They could even be battling for the title at the end of the season. Who knows? So there's a lot of big games for everybody. I mean, Andreas, how are you feeling in terms of the title race? I mean, I know we all hope we can do it, and I'm sure we all think we've got a good chance to do it. But how are you realistically seeing it now after that game against Chelsea? Because that was the last really big game, wasn't it, between the top teams playing each other at the top there. How do you see it playing out now for the last couple of months of the season?
Well, the title race is still open, and it's when you look at the table, it's not only Arsenal or Chelsea. Man United is absolutely in the title race. Still, although they lost against City, they are still in the race, and it's not said and done that it's between Arsenal and Chelsea only. And I'm sure that we will not win all our 8 matches. We will drop points, but Chelsea also will drop points. And United will drop points. It's the league is absolutely competitive, and it's a pity that City lost so many points in the first half of the season, because they have a good run now and they are not far away. I think City is a candidate for the 3rd Champions League spot, and as far as the title is concerned, of course, I'm hoping that we will win the title. It's in Chelsea's hands, because they have 1 game in hand, and if they win, they are 1 point ahead. But as I said last week in the watch along, a game in hand doesn't mean 3 points on the table. No, they must win the game in hand, and there are difficult matches for all the teams. And don't forget that it's not only the WSL matches. There is the FA Cup, and for us, the Wolfsburg match, for Chelsea, the Man City final in the Cup. Difficult matches. All teams need to concentrate on every match, because in every competition, it's not group stage or the easy matches in the FA Cup. No, it's the really difficult matches for all the teams. So you can't say what will happen in 3 or 4 weeks. You must look from one match to the next, and for us, the next is Liverpool away. It's only a championship team, I know, but they are leading the table of the championship, and we are away. It won't be easy. And then there's Wolfsburg waiting two times. That will be very difficult matches. We have to rotate. We have to to rest players. It's very difficult, and the title race is absolutely open. Maybe it will be decided on the last day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. It could be. That would be exciting, wouldn't it? Saying Yipley says they're both teams are going to lose points for the season. Yeah, I think we pretty much accept that's probably going to be the case. And also, points are better than a game in hand. Well, they are until you win your game in hand, and then you're happy that you've won your game in hand, aren't you? But I'm reasonably happy with our position at the moment, to be honest. Having played all the big teams home and away, we haven't lost to any of them. We've picked up some really useful points along the line, and yes, it is in Chelsea's hands. If they win all their games, they win the league, and we can't stop them. And to be honest, the way I look at it now, if they win all their last 9 games, they deserve to win the league. Quite frankly, they do. And even if we win all 8 of ours, you have to say that would be incredible from Chelsea to do that, and they would probably deserve to win it. But let's hope that that's not the case. But I mean, Matt, how did you see it playing out? Because I think that everybody's going to drop points. I really do. And in a way, I'm a little bit disappointed Man United didn't actually beat Man City last weekend, because that would have make them even more in the title race. And it would have, I don't know, especially if they've still got to play Chelsea at the last game. And if they're still in the title race on that, that would be a really tense game, wouldn't it? But I mean, how do you see it playing out? Because, we just about hold the advantage on the points. But obviously with the game in hand, it is in Chelsea's hands a little bit. Do you think it is going to go down to the last game? Or do you think there'll be a few more kind of twists and turns on the way? Are Man United still in it? Are Tottenham still in it?
You're probably asking the wrong person, really. Basically, the way I see it is that everyone's going to be wanting that third Champions League spot. It's between them 3. It's because Terry's put that comment in.
Terry's put a comment in. He says, "Is that a Tommy machine gun on top of your comment?" It does look a bit like it can, actually, but it's not, is it? Is it a T-shirt or something? Just to reassure you.
It's just a bag. I'm not getting it down because this is going to take too much time, and then we're going to be on for too long asking around random questions again. So, this title race, I think the Champions League third spot is what everyone's going to be looking forward to. Tottenham, they've got a huge say in this title race, as they've got to play Chelsea twice, Arsenal once. I'm pretty sure they've got to play City as well.
City home, yeah.
So it might be who can get more points off of Tottenham, and that might take it. But Andreas mentioned that this month Chelsea have more games. Chelsea have 5 games. We only have 4. Our game against Reading that was postponed is going to be picked up this month. Yeah, and that's on a Wednesday, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. It's not just the title race in Champions League that's up for grabs. The relegation battle is really heating up, and that's because of what happened with the Aston Villa game against Everton, which I went to at the weekend.
You went?
Basically, Villa scored 2 goals and Everton couldn't get one to reply or anything, but Everton just look, I don't know, really demoralised just by playing up. I think they've lost 2 managers now, one of them at the highest level as well, and Tony Duggan looked like she was running after a lost cause during that game. So it's not just. It's all to play for in the WSL. I think Birmingham will definitely go down, that's for sure. The top 2 is going to be interesting to see how close that is for the moment. But it will annoy me, and it will really annoy me if it goes down to the end of the season and Chelsea go and win it by a point or something like that. That will annoy me the most, because they won it over the COVID season, which in theory nobody should have won that.
True.
That's true.
They won it last year. I think again it was by a small margin as well. So
3 points, yeah.
It's just one of those things that's going to annoy you if it comes down to us. See, everyone's giving me a new nickname now in the chat.
Yeah, we've got Matt Tommy Gun Roberts there and Rambo Roberts as well. There you go. So
I just call him Stato Mato.
That's pretty good. Well, yeah, no, he throws some good stats in usually as well, which is good to hear. I mean, yes, it has been quite tight. Obviously, the last couple of seasons. So I agree. The COVID season was silly just to give it on points per game. It's a strange way of deciding the league title, isn't it? And they might have been better off just saying no, we're not going to have the season this year and just start again. But anyway, that happened. So they've gained an extra league title there, which they didn't really deserve. So yes, I think we'd all be disappointed if we lost it by 1 point. When you think of some of the points that we've dropped this season, in some games we shouldn't have dropped points. In the Birmingham game's always going to haunt us, isn't it? If we lose the league by 1 or 2 points, that Birmingham game will be the one that I think we'll all look back on and say that was the one that cost us the title, and that would be so disappointing. But ultimately, there's nothing we can do about it now. All we can do is do the best that we can in these last 8 games and hope it's enough. And that's all we can hope for now. What's gone's gone. We can't get those points back. And let's just hope that that's what we do. I mean, how do you see it playing out? Because it isn't just the top 2. I think that Man United and Tottenham and even I know Man City are probably too far off the title, but they can be challenging for the top 3. There's a lot to play for a lot of clubs at the top of the table. So it's certainly not going to be straightforward, is it? So what? How do you kind of see it playing out? I know it's difficult to predict this season, but we're in a decent position. I'm sure we'd have took this at the start of the season, but do you think it's the advantages with us, or do you think it's still with Chelsea?
Tough to tell, really. I mean, it's tough. It really is tough to tell. I wouldn't really like to make any predictions at this point, but I mean, when you're in control and you can only do you can only be what's in front of you, and hopefully we discover some of that sparkling early season form, and we can just not have to worry about what other teams do. We just focus on what we're doing, and then put the pressure on them and see if they can respond. That's what I'd like to see us do, and then. Yeah, well, Chelsea probably have the slight advantage. You also say you go back to that Birmingham game, but if you think about it, if the referee had intervened at the Man City game, it could also come down to that as well.
That's true, yeah. Maybe the referee will get a medal if Chelsea win it by 1 point. Give that referee a medal for
also, I mean, then Champions League, anyone of 4 teams, Spurs have been arguably the best. Arguably, there's some not just a surprise package, or the way Rianskin has improved them has been remarkable. City are coming back into United. Even I wouldn't rule out Reading or possibly even West Ham out of the contention for the Champions League. There's a lot to play for there. And Birmingham, they're pretty much gone, aren't they, with 2 games in hand? Everton having 2 games in hand, although Everton could well be, if they're not careful, they could go down next season. But as far as the title is concerned, I mean, we can only continue to win the games that we have got, and then just put the pressure and see if teams respond. And at the end of the day, hopefully we can do that, and who knows what it'll come down to. But wouldn't like to make any predictions at this stage.
No, it's been a difficult season to predict. Sanguli says there, when was your last silverware? 2019. Don't rub it in. It was 2018.
Yes, it was the league title. Yes,
it was 2018, not 2019. And also their advantages with you as you sit at the top of the table. All I would say is that the only what it may come down to is this Chelsea team are experienced in battling for the title because they've been there, done it before the last few seasons. Whereas we've got quite a new team, haven't we? A lot of new players. Yes, some of them have won the league before. Last time we won it, we were talking about they're still in the side now, but we've got a lot of new players that maybe haven't been in this situation much before, and certainly not in the WSL. So I think that maybe Chelsea have got a slight advantage. Obviously, Emma Hayes has been there and done it before. She certainly isn't going to lose her bottle, is she, in the title running with 2 or 3 games to go? Whereas, obviously Jonas has not been in this situation before, as he in this league. So, a lot of our players haven't either. So it's going to be. That could prove to be one of the crucial things at the end. Maybe we'll have to see, but who knows? It's just Chelsea have dropped points this season that no one would have expected them to have done, and I'm sure, as we've said, they're going to drop a few more, and hopefully at least two or 3 more than we do, and then that will be great. But it is all to play for, and it's for me. Yes, we want Arsenal to win, but this season, and if it carries on in the next few weeks as it has done so far, we'll go down, I think, as the best ever season in WSL history for the football that's been played. The way that the league's kind of shrank, the gap's shrunk, hasn't it, between the bottom and the top teams in terms of in terms of the quality.
You know what would be
the
really
new
good if they do like a review, or like Sky bring out like a season review.
Yeah, like to do with the Premier League. That's a good show.
Yeah, like do it on like a DVD sort of thing, and because I think that would be really well marketed.
Definitely. It's a good idea.
Sorry, Richard.
Yeah, no, it would be, because I think, obviously it's the first season that Sky have been involved. The new TV deal, all the games are now more available for everyone to watch, which has been great. And the fact that it's been such a great season as well, has just all come together at the same time. And that's to me is the greatest thing to come out of this season. Actually, not so much, yes, we want to win the league and that'll be fantastic, but the fact that the season has been so great overall, I think we need to all kind of sort of listen to that, really. Terry says, I think we're getting better each game. We just need to start scoring goals early in the season. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, you could say that we've improved as the season's gone on. I know that the football maybe doesn't look as good and the results haven't been quite as good, but to go away at Man City, score a last-minute equaliser, we did the same at Tottenham, to get that draw at Chelsea, to come back against Man United. To me, that's a sign that we've improved. It's all very well, at the start of the season, beating all these teams 3-4, 5-0, whatever it was. Yeah, that was great. But ultimately, the pressure's on now when you get in the second half of the season. We had all these big games and we haven't lost any of them. They haven't beaten us. None of these big teams have beaten us. And I think we've improved. And I think we are improving as the season's going on. And I just hope that we can do enough to win the league. But even if we don't, this team is going to get better, I think. We're going to improve the squad again, hopefully, over the summer. And I think that even if we don't win the league this year, and we don't win the FA Cup this year, and we don't do so well in the Champions League, I think next year, the year after, are going to be really exciting times at Arsenal, actually. Because I think we are building something to be at the top of the women's game again, as we were a few years ago. I think we're building something to get back there again. And I think we're going to take some stopping over the next 2 or 3 years, actually. So, Emma, if you're watching, be prepared, because we're coming for you.
Yeah.
And we're coming to take your crown. If not this year, it will definitely be in the next couple of years, without a shadow of a doubt. So be prepared for that, because we are coming back, and we're building something, and it feels exciting. It feels, you can feel it, kind of just watching us play and seeing the players that's come in and what we're doing, that we're building something that's going to be hopefully sustainable going forward. We've got a great squad of players, and let's hope that that we can. We've got another comment there from Sangyup Lee, says, "Oh yes, bad for my hairline, good for the women's game." Yeah, exactly, it definitely is. So, what do you guys think of the idea that two teams should come up? 100%. I think that's got to happen. It's got to happen, and it's got to happen very, very quickly as well. I think. I mean, Andreas, would you be in favour of two teams coming up?
Yes, of course. It's for me. It's for many years. It's ridiculous that only one team is coming up. I don't know exactly in other leagues, but in Germany, I know definitely there are two teams coming up, two going down, and this should be in the WSL too. Yeah, of course. And the positive thing in this season is that the gap between the weaker teams and the top teams has closed. It's absolutely competitive league, more competitive than I see it in Germany, and of course more competitive than in Spain or in France. It's just the competition is fantastic, and that's the great development and achievement for the women's football in this season, that we see such a competitive league. Of course we all want our team to win. We are the Arsenal, and others are Chelsea fans. They want Chelsea to win or City to win. That's normal. But what you want as a fan is the quality of the game. If I see my team winning 9 or 10-0, it's okay. I'm happy with the winning, but not with the game when you have no real opponent. So this season is really exciting, and let's hope for a good ending. But a team that wins the league, that has more points at the end, deserves it, because every of the teams that are now competing for the title has so far played a great season. Arsenal, Chelsea, even United or Tottenham. We would have never believed that Tottenham is playing for a Champions League spot. If the worst case happens and they win the North London Derby, they could even compete for the title.
We don't want to think about that, do we? We don't want to think about that. But no, I mean, you're right. If they, I mean, they've got to play Chelsea twice. Imagine if they beat Chelsea twice and beat us, they'll be top of the table.
Wait.
And, you know, we don't want to think about that, do we? Really? But I mean, it's a possibility. I personally don't think that they'll be able to win all 3 of those games. But if they won the 2 against Chelsea, I wouldn't mind that at all. Actually, they're quite happy to do that, and let us beat them, and then they beat Chelsea. That'd be great. We'll enjoy that, I'm sure. And another comment here from Saint Lee says, I hope in my lifetime we see a 20-team league. I mean, that would be great. I'm not sure how far off that might be. I certainly think that, you know, they could maybe reorganise the divisions, couldn't they, a little bit, maybe?
Possibly.
And maybe get more teams into the WSL and the Championship. I don't know what would be a good number, maybe 15, 16 in each, maybe, and see if we could do that. I don't know. But yeah, it'd be nice for it to grow. And, you know, definitely 2 up and 2 down's got to be the way forward. We can't just keep it with 1. It's, you know, it's funny enough, this season, as it's turned out in the FA Cup, we've played London Lionesses, who are second in the Championship. We're now going to play Liverpool, who are first. So they're the top 2 teams in the Championship. Obviously, London Lionesses gave us a difficult game. Yeah, we didn't play that well, but, you know, we should have won up by a few more. But it was a difficult game. We'll see exactly how difficult Liverpool game will be next week. And I'm sure that's why that's not going to be easy. And it just goes to show that, you know, you could promote those 2 teams into WSL. It's not going to weaken the league, is it? It won't weaken it at all. So I think that needs to happen, really. I'm just not quite sure whether they're thinking about that or what's going to happen. They are thinking about using VAR in it actually next year. So they're making progress in some stages. Agree, there's no more free games. No, there isn't any more free games. There isn't. It's true. And as Sanguinary says there, you can catch a low team on a bad day and you get punished. You do, exactly. We got punished at Birmingham. You guys got punished at Reading, wasn't it? And Brighton. And that's the way how it goes. It is. And the Spuds surprised everyone. Well, yeah, they have surprised everyone, actually. They had a decent start, and you thought, they're going to end up losing a few, and they've kept going. So fair play to them. They're having a great season, but let's hope that that finishes at the Emirates at the end of next month when we beat them. Thing says, if we beat you in the if they beat the North London derby, you'll have to ban me from coming on. The banter will be epic. Well, if they beat you twice, then we want you to come back on, and we'll quite enjoy that.
Exactly.
Let's wait and see. Tottenham could, as we said, Tottenham could decide the league actually, which should be, even if they don't win it themselves, they could decide which one of us 2 do by the results that we get. And no VAR there as well. Yeah, I mean, we don't really want VAR. I certainly don't. I don't want it at all in men's football either. But ultimately, if you're going to use it in men's football, it doesn't seem fair as not using it in women's football, does it? It doesn't seem fair that they're not. And, you know, I know Emma Hayes moans about everything, but ultimately, when she said that at the first game of the season, when that offside goal that Beth Mead scored, she's right. And if you're going to use it at the top level in men's game, you've got to use it at the top level in the women's game. You've got to, or don't use it at all anywhere. You can't separate it like that. And she's right about that. And I want to see that happen. Somebody says their goal line technology is okay. VAR
it is Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it is, but
the goal line tech didn't work. The goal went in. The Villa, according to someone who knew the Villa staff, they were watching it back, and the ball crossed the line during one of Everton's corners, and it wasn't given. So the goal line apparently is not.
But have they got goal line technology at that ground? Because obviously Everton they weren't playing at their main stadium, were they? They were playing at the Walton Park, isn't it? I think where they play. They probably haven't got goal line technology in that stadium. I wouldn't imagine.
They should do.
Yeah, they should do. I totally agree. It should be everywhere or nowhere. But ultimately, I'm not sure if it would have been in that stadium. Yeah, is it at Boreham Wood? Did Boreham Wood have goal line technology at that stadium?
No idea.
They wouldn't do if they're a National League side.
No, I don't think they do. I don't think they do. So this is another thing you see that needs to be looked at. You know, I mean, is the time going to come where the women's clubs the women's teams that are attached to the men's clubs, are they going to start playing in the men's stadium so that they can use VAR, they'll have goal line technology? Are they just going to make the WSL in the Premier League stadium? Maybe that's the way forward. Because, I mean, as Jonas rightly said after the Chelsea game, the only thing wrong with it was that only 3,000 fans could watch the game because of the size of the stadium. You could have played that game at Stamford Bridge and you'd have probably got 25,000 there, I reckon, for that game.
Definitely.
You could have done that easily.
What was the attendance at the Emirates? Wasn't it something close to that? Or
it was 12,000 for the Barcelona game, I think, wasn't it? I think the
12,000.
Chelsea game was about 9, wasn't it? I think the first game of the season. I think the Barcelona game was 12,000.
Bit hit and miss then.
Yeah, and I would imagine that the Tottenham game is going to be. I think that might push 20,000 if 20,000 is allowed. I don't know what the if there's a cap on the capacity on that game, because there's no other Premier League games that day, is there? Because it's international break for the men. So
probably.
There's no other games that weekend. So I don't know whether or not that they won't have a cap on the capacity. It'd be nice to get.
By Sang, sorry, Richard. Yeah, the refs are actually not professional. They're semi-professional. I didn't know that until recently.
Yeah, they're not professional. No, they're not. No. And it's
I
another thing to see.
I think they said they were going to use it on a trial basis from the 2023-24 season, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what they need to do. Terry says VAR will be better in women's football as the refs are better than men's football. I don't think they are, Terry. I've got to be honest. I've not really seen much evidence of that, actually.
I'm not sure about that.
And Sangyuli says, and better training and pay at the WSL refs to be more professional. Yeah, we've got to pay them. Well, yeah, I guess that's a way forward. But the refs in the Premier League for the men are paid professionals, and they're terrible. So I don't think just paying them is the answer. I think training them better, making them become better referees, making them understand the game better, understand the laws of the game, and not even just the laws of the game, but the I don't know, just understanding football more. I get the feeling that referees, they've never played the game most of them at a good level. I don't think they really understand what football is. You know, you can clearly see that they don't make the decisions. That
female ref in the Premier League, is it Siobhan something?
The one who's a linesman, you mean, quite a lot?
Yeah, she was a linesman, but she does some of the refereeing
Sean Massey.
Shane Massey, yeah.
Why don't they bring her on board and say you're not going to be a referee, but you're going to be the development for the WSL and
that's not about Charles. That's not about.
Yeah, that's a very good shout, actually. Yeah, that's what she should be doing. See, I've always said this, right? There seems to have been, and I know it's probably going to be quite a controversial point of view. I don't know what you guys think, but for me, they've been desperately trying to promote women referees, women officials into the men's game, right? They've been desperately trying to do that when the women's game are desperate for the best referees. The best women referees should be in the women's game because the women's game needs them. And they're trying to promote them into the men's game, which to me, that's not really a promotion. It's a sideways step, if anything. They just get paid more money. But what they should be doing is they should be keeping the best women referees to referee in the WSL because the WSL needs it. You can clearly see every single week there's some crazy decisions. You know, the Katie McCabe red card, for example, the Man City one, we've been on the end of a couple. There's been loads of others. The Birmingham goalkeeper got sent off the other week. It got overturned. It was a terrible decision at the time. You could see it wasn't sending off. And, you know, well, what they're doing is the best female referees. Oh no, sorry, you're too good for the WSL. We're going to move you to the Premier League. Well, no, sorry, that's not the way to develop the women's game. The best way to develop the women's game is to get the best people involved, and whether that's the referees, the coaches, everybody. You need to get the best people involved, and it's no good them ticking boxes to get the best women referees into the Premier League. No, that's not what's needed in a women's game. We need to improve the standard of refereeing in the women's game first. And these are the best people to do it. And Matt makes a great point. Why isn't she doing something? Maybe she's behind the scenes, we don't know, but certainly that should be happening. The best referees, the best female referees should be helping the other referees to improve the standard. They should be doing workshops. You know, they should be doing this kind of stuff with them and improving them. That's what they should be doing. And, you know, that's how it's got to be. But ultimately, it won't happen because they're all going to go into the men's game and that'll be that. And the women's game is going to suffer unless Emma Hayes gets her away because she's very, you know, as much as I don't always like her, she's very pushy in what she wants and she tends to get what she wants. So hopefully she'll get what she wants on this side because she's right about this. I'll totally 100% back her.
Is that one of the reasons why then you think that perhaps she was passed over for the England job?
Quite possibly because she is a little bit, you know, she's not the type to sit quietly in a corner and say, yes, is she? You know, she will voice her opinion very strongly. And, you know, sometimes she's wrong and sometimes she's right. And on this particular issue, she's right. And, you know, but she is good for the game. Let's be honest. She's good for the women's game. As much as, you know, we don't particularly like her sometimes. Well, I don't personally sometimes. But she is good for the women's game. And you need more people like her that's prepared to fight their corner and say the women's game needs this to happen. You know, and she's got the power because she's the most successful coach in the game at the moment. So she's got the power to do it, and she's doing it. So I do, you know, I will give her credit for that actually, and that's very rare that I'll give her credit for much, but I'll give her credit for that because she deserves it because she's right. So, Lee says there, we cannot bemoan the refs if we do not pay them a fair wage. Yeah, no, that's true, but it's not just about the wage, is it? It's, I'll say, about the training and the standards. And going back to the Kate McKay red card, that was a red. She gets away with. She doesn't get away with murder at all. She can't even sneeze without getting a red card. She doesn't get away with anything. The last time McKay made a good challenge, you had silverware. Oh, that's a little bit cheeky, isn't it? Okay,
out does it out. I wanted to ask Andreas, do they have the VAR in the Frauen Bundesliga?
No, of course.
Oh, they don't.
What I do like about the German leagues is the relegation battle playoffs. So you take the second and third. That would probably work in the WSL.
In the WSL,
I
mean, Terry's point.
Now, Terry makes a good point here. He says, my woman said women would do VAR better as they can do two things at once. Well, yeah, that's a fair point. They always say that they can, so why not give them the opportunity? We'll see, won't we? Whether they can or not. And Sanguli says Roman won't let her go. Well, no, I'm sure he won't let her go. Almost definitely not. But anyway, if she's going to help bring about the changes that we needed in the WSL and in women's football, then to me that's brilliant. And she needs to be supported in all that, because she's trying to make some positive changes to the game. So that's got to be applauded, actually. So it'd be rare that I'm going to praise Emma too much, but I'm going to give her credit for that, because she's doing a great job on that side of things. Samuel Lee says there, playoffs for relegation. See, I kind of quite like that idea as well, actually. I think that would be quite good, and maybe relegation. Maybe what they should do is have one automatic place and then one place on a playoff. Maybe do it something like that. To increase it to two places, maybe try something like that. Maybe do it that way. That could work quite well. The team that finished second bottom, the team that finished second, maybe play off, or the team that finished second and third bottom and second and third, and they play off, and then the winner of that competition gets promoted or stays in the WSL if it's one of the WSL teams. Maybe try that. I think that could be quite good. Give a little bit of an end of season kind of competition as well, wouldn't it? At the end of the season, which could be quite good for the teams that when you're not challenging for Europe or the title, it could give them something to fight for. You won't want to finish in the bottom three, then, would you? Because you might end up in the playoffs for relegation. So you're not going to get those teams relaxing at the end of the season and letting Chelsea beat them 3-0. They'll have to fight for their place. They'll go out and play better. So Samuel Lee says even better. First automatic 2 and 3 fight at home and away. Possibly, or the bottom 2 and 3 and the top 2 and 3 kind of play against each other, maybe. But I'd like to see something like that. Some changes like that could be quite exciting to watch. And let's see what happens. I think it's inevitable over the next 4 or 5 years, with the Sky TV money coming in, we're going to see a lot of changes in the women's game. Actually, some of them will be good and improve it, and some of them probably won't be. And as has happened with the Premier League, some of the things that come up will spoil the game. And already some of the kickoff times are spoiling it, aren't they? Taking away. We mentioned it before, the kickoff time and that kind of stuff. So, but there's going to be a lot of changes coming up actually in the next few years because of the extra money that's going to be in the game. I mean, Andreas, what would you like to see? Obviously, with a bit more money coming in over the next few years, what would you like to see change? Would it be the referees, or would it be the structure of the leagues, or some rules in the game, or what would you like to see change, improve?
So already talking about this, the referees must be professional, or the system of the referees must be more professional than it is now. But I would like to see would be a second European competition, like in the Europe League. This is essential for me. Now we have 3 Champions League spots, but the teams, of course, the team on 4th or 5th place, they are competing for the 3rd spot. But the other teams, they have no chance. So there should be another European competition. So teams like Western Villa, they would have a chance. Maybe you could say the 4th in the league, or maybe the FA Cup winner or the Continental Cup winner. But there must be more chances to play European because there's more money in the game. The teams get a lot of money from the Champions League and the broadcast there, but that's a danger that the money concentrates on the teams that qualify for the Champions League. And if it's always the same team, the same 3 teams, then the money concentrates there, and the best players will go to these 3 teams, 3 or 4 teams. So this is a point we're discussing in Germany this for a rather long time, and I think it would help the biggest leagues like Germany, England, France, Spain, if there is a chance for more teams to play European football.
No, I do agree with that. The only thing that concerns me slightly is a point you made earlier, actually, Andreas, that you're saying that the quality and depth for some of these other leagues in Europe, in Spain, in Germany, in France, if you had 5th, 6th teams in those leagues qualifying for Europe, how competitive would they be? Would the WSL teams not just run away with those competitions because we've got more strength in depth, haven't we? Do you not think that's a danger that might happen initially? Obviously, the money eventually would even out and it would probably improve overall, but for the first 3 or 4 years, you'd imagine teams like maybe Manchester City or Tottenham or West Ham would do really well in them competitions, wouldn't they?
But yeah, the danger at the moment is that I can only speak for Germany. The danger is that the best players concentrate on the top teams. It's in Germany, it's Wolfsburg and Bayern Munich. And when you see what happened with Wolfsburg, they are buying the best players. They bought Merle Froms, the national keeper, and Jule Brandt from Hoffenheim. We saw her play against
sure.
and I think she would have been interesting for us and for Chelsea. She's going to Wolfsburg, and Wolfsburg made an offer to Lia Wolti and to Sarah Debritz from PSG. So it's all concentrating on the best teams. And if there would be a chance for the 4th or 5th in Germany to play European, players like Jule Brandt wouldn't have to go to Wolfsburg or to Bayern Munich. So the longer it lasts, it's concentrating on few teams, and the danger is that in those leagues, the best players say, "Oh, then let's go to England or let's go to Barcelona." I think this should happen very, very soon.
Yeah, I mean that's a good way of looking at it. Actually, yeah, I maybe hadn't thought of it from that point perspective. Yeah, the best players will be more evenly spread around, more teams, won't they? Because they won't have to go to them top teams to play in Europe, and that's actually a really good point. And that would long term certainly that would improve massively the depth of a lot of the leagues, wouldn't it? Because you would start to get teams lower down with more money because they played European football. They'd be more attractive to the top players, and it would make a massive difference long term, certainly. That's pretty good actually. And as Lee says, like the Europa, exactly. I think that's what you mean, is the Europa League essentially for the women. It would be exactly that's what it would be, wouldn't it? Maybe call it something else, but that's what it essentially would be. Terry says my only problem with Sky involved in the women's game is they'll ruin it like the men's game. Yeah, they've started to ruin the kickoff times already, haven't they? And a few other bits and pieces. But ultimately, the money, you have to take it, don't you, as part of it. You have to take the money and all the stuff that comes with it, I'm afraid. Terry says, yeah, spot on, Andreas. Yeah, exactly. That was a really good point. And Samuel Lee says, if that happens, it will encourage the other leagues to pick up. No, exactly. Yeah, that's the kind of point that Andreas was just making. It would. Yeah, trophies attract players. It's true. Yeah, they do. And the opportunity to play it in European football, at the top level of European football, everyone wants to play that, don't they? So, yeah, that maybe is that one thing on its own could possibly make a massive difference to improving women's football all over Europe, actually, couldn't it? And improve the quality everywhere. So, yeah, that's maybe a great place to start. I mean, Matt, how are you going to top that? What would you like to see coming to? It's going to be difficult to top that idea, actually. But what ideas would you have maybe to improve women's football over the next few years with the extra money that's coming in?
Well, one thing that I've loved watching at the moment, it's only been a little bit, but Feyenoord brought out their documentary series for the women. I thought that was quite interesting. So I think maybe we might see more of that behind the scenes with Amazon and Netflix in the future, those sort of documentaries. I think Barcelona will be a hot prospect, especially with the Euros coming up, and a lot of them are playing for Barcelona, Real Madrid. One thing that does annoy me, though, is that some of these games you can't see on TV. They're all on their own. You have to have like a VPN or something like that. So it'd be nice to have somewhere where you can sit and watch other teams play. Feyenoord at the moment, because of their lockdown rules, they have to put everything onto their YouTube channel, which is brilliant because Emma Coolan, who's done an amazing job, with them in their media department, she is very outspoken about women's football, and we need that in the future. I mean, Laura Woods, just another example, journalist. She's been touted for women's presenter or women's journalist of the year, or the journalist of the year. It's just small things like that is going to help improve, and the fact that Laura Woods is now hosting the Arnold Cup as well is helping it come along. But I think in general, if I had to pinpoint something, it would have to be the money. Like, I think we're going to have to put a cap on that in the future, because otherwise,
already we haven't even got the money yet. At least give them people a chance to spend it first.
No, it's just think of it this way: is that, let's say we give them up to 25 grand a month or a week or something like that. That way, they're earning a sustainable wage. Some of them are still doing uni work. Some of them are, some of them, like Jill Scott's got a cafe and doing business adventures. They're looking at what they can do in the future. I think Katie McCabe's looking at doing a coaching course because the way that she comes across in some of those photos. So I think they are all looking towards the future, but they should be looking to invest it back. I mean, there's some brilliant initiatives out there that need to be addressed more, and they're not.
Yeah, no. I mean, I agree. I mean, we've seen what the really, really big money, how it's ruined the men's game. We've seen that quite clearly, haven't we? With the wages, with the transfer fees and everything else. And, you know, this has come about on the back of obviously the money from TV deal with Sky and what have you. So there is a danger, you're right, that as with the women's football goes forward with this money, that it could end up going down a similar route. And that would be wrong. I agree. And that's something we need to look at. But, you know, what we need to see at the minute is, when the money's going to be starting to come into the game, which it will be over the next few years, then what we don't do is we don't spend it on the wrong things, as the men have done. It's gone into the wrong areas.
Vinay is quite important, as what he seems to be more important with the women than he does with the men.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, actually, isn't he, Vinay? Actually, with the women's team. You know, he was at training, wasn't he, with them a little while ago, and he speaks really well about them as well, and he's got good plans. And you can see that the club have invested well in the women's team actually recently, which is great to see, because, you know, we are the most successful women's club in history. So we should be investing in it. Terry says there, spot on. MMM 77, wages will ruin the women's game if we're not careful. No, exactly, it will, as it's ruined the men's game. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And he says, Katie McCabe, MMA coach. Well, I think she'll do well at MMA, let's be honest, the way she handles herself on the pitch. But yeah, so that would be quite good. But no, I mean, you know, another point there actually from Sangapore as well, you know, against the cap, players have a short career, they need to be able to earn enough to live a good life. Yeah, that's a point as well. I don't disagree with that. It's just that when it gets to the level that the men's game's at, that's out of control, isn't it? And that's where it's a problem. They obviously should earn more money than they are. I quite agree, because it is a short career. But ultimately, you know, there needs to be a sensible way of doing it. Maybe that hasn't happened in the men's game. Terry says Katie McCabe has a door staff firm. Well, she probably runs it herself. I would have thought you wouldn't mess with her. That's a fact. You know, if she told you to calm down, you'd calm down, wouldn't you? Let's be honest. So yeah, and I mean, Emma, what would you like to see improve or change over the next few years with the extra investment in the women's game? Now we're moving in the right direction. What would you like to see? Maybe what we'd like to use the money on to improve things?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I mean, the guys have covered most of the points, but I'd also like to see more. I'd like to see if we're going to grow as we've seen in the past. We should use some of the when it's feasible to do so. They should use some of the Premier League grounds to play some of the bigger games that get more spectators along to the games, and also maybe try to encourage them to take up the sport, get inspired by the heroes, and maybe get them involved in what they want to do more. And I suppose it's been going in the right direction a few years since the last Women's World Cup, and with the extra investment, they could maybe use that money to get more girls into football, I guess. So yeah, that would probably
grassroots, exactly. Yeah, put it into grassroots. Yeah,
grassroots. That's right, grassroots. Not just with the not with TV and all that. But
sorry, Emma, just to cut on that.
Yeah, that's fine. I made my point. You go ahead.
No, I work with a coaching company, and we do a wildcat session, and at the moment they can only get 2 people a week, which is ridiculous. And we're trying all sorts. We try social media. We try and reach out to people, see if they know anyone or are they interested, and we're just not getting it.
No, and that I mean, I've always said, you know, for years in the Premier League that a lot more should have been invested at grassroots level, because that's how you produce your future players. And you know, they maybe missed a bit of an opportunity with the men's game 20 years ago, whereas now the women's game is just starting out on this journey, and really important that grassroots is invested in. And I think that needs to be written in somewhere. As this Sky money comes in, a certain percentage of it has to go to grassroots to encourage the next generation, to encourage girls to be playing football, to give them facilities to be able to play football, better coaching at grassroots level for kids to play women's football, girls football. These are so important, and people sometimes ignore that kind of thing. That they just all like to see the glamour and the glitz of the top level football, whether it's the men and the women, whatever it is, without understanding that you need to sustain that in a the best way to do that is to invest in the grassroots, to bring the players up and improve the quality from, you know, 6, 7, 8 year olds all the way up, you know, and improving the quality all the way through. And that would be great, actually. And same look, he says as well, yeah, that's a great call, grassroots. Indeed it is. Terry said we need to attract ex-players back into the game on a decent way. That's a point, actually, because what tends to happen, all the ex-players now seem to end up in media, don't they? They're either presenting, they're commentating, and that's all they're doing. They're not getting into coaching. They're not getting into management so much, are they? It's like, you know, look at the number. And I know I'm not saying that men shouldn't coach in the women WSL. We've got a male manager for a start off, but there's a lot of great ex-women players that could probably do a really good job coaching and managing it at top level in women's football, or even at grassroots level, and they don't seem to be doing much of it, do they? They'd rather be in the media, on the telly all the time, or whatever it is, or commentating on the Premier League. Again, it comes back to that, doesn't it? Pushing them into doing jobs like that when really they should be working in the women's game, because that's they should be giving back to the game that made them what they were a little bit, you know. So yeah, these are things that need to be looked at, maybe. And, you know, I mean, it seems to me, quite honestly, that us 4 should be running the women's game for the next 5 years. Which and what happens, because I'm sure things would be a lot better if we took it over. You can guarantee the people running it at the moment and everything like that are not going to have any of these, not going to take on board any of these ideas. They're going to waste it on absolute stuff that doesn't need to be spent money on. It's just going to get wasted on ridiculous things, little fads and stuff like that, which are just pointless. The other thing as well, I think we need to mention is as well the silly kickoff times. We need to put a stop to that before it gets out of hand. You know,
we said people to come along at better times, definitely. Yeah,
we said it before. It's a family game. You know, Harry takes his kids to the games, doesn't he, all the time, and people like that. There's so many. That's what women's football's always been about. And to lose that audience in the stadium would be the wrong move. And we've said it before, and that's another thing that needs to happen. They need to look at the kickoff times and make them sensible for families as well, and everybody else. So that, you know, that are the things I'd like to see improve. And you know, all the points that we've made tonight. Imagine what women's, if all these things that we've spoke about here now in the last sort of 10, 15 minutes or so, if that's what happens in the next 5 years of women's football, think how great women's football will be. Think how great it would be. You know, and you know, unfortunately though, whether any of these things will ever happen. I like the European competition. That would be great, actually. You know, what a great idea that is. You know, the grassroots thing as well. It's fantastic. This is what needs to happen. And as Sam he says, 11:30 kick-off, Brighton versus Man City. Yeah, exactly. You know, who's that thinking of there? How many Man City fans let's go watch that game? You know,
that's another point as well. Sorry, Richard. That I believe the City supporters weren't able to get a bus to Brighton because of the City men were playing Forest on the same day or something like that.
Right.
And it's just strange that this is happening.
Yeah, I mean that is a silly time to kick off any game of football. 11:30 on a Saturday, or is it Saturday or Sunday, isn't it?
I think it was 12:30 on Sunday, but I can't remember now. I think it was 11:30 Saturday. Yeah.
Was it Saturday? Yeah. So I mean, it's just a ridiculous time to kick off a game of football anyway. You know, football should be on Saturday afternoon. That's what it's designed for, isn't it? So, you know, and it needs to be. I say they can't take the family aspects away. So that is another thing these days. But yeah, I mean, women's football is going to grow and improve, and let's hope it does grow and improve in the right areas, and we end up with playoffs. We end up with more teams promoted and relegated, a bigger WSL, 2 European competitions, a lot more investment in grassroots football, kick-off times at a sensible time of day, and all this kind of stuff. That's what we need to happen. So let's hope that's what does happen. Before we finish, obviously at the minute there is international breaks going on. There's been some big international games actually this last few days. But maybe just have a quick look at some of our players have been getting on. I mean, obviously the Lionesses had a decent result yesterday against Canada. Obviously the Olympic champions, and we got a draw, a decent result. I thought we played pretty well. I was quite pleased that Leah Williamson went off before she got injured. So that was nice, a relief that, she played about an hour or so, didn't she? And then she went off. Maybe not her best game. I still don't think she's 100% fit. But anyway, we've also had, of course, players playing throughout the world, haven't we? There was a good game, wasn't there? Holland against Brazil. Viv playing against Rafaela, which was quite nice to see. A picture of them at the end exchanging shirts and stuff like that.
Was right, yeah, that's what I was going to mention.
Yeah. We've had a lot of our players all over the world playing over the next, next few days as well. I mean, Andreas, have you been watching much of the international football the last few days?
It was difficult. I was trying to find a live stream for England versus Canada, but it wasn't possible in Germany. And the German match was in the afternoon when I was at work. So it's only what I saw in the highlights and what I read. So I read that England was the better team in the first half against Canada. And second half, I think it was Canada, the better team. There were a lot of changes in the second half, 4 or 5 changes around 65th minute. So the rhythm gets away. But it's good for Leah to captaining the Lionesses. But she has to play in midfield, I think. So it's also a different role for her. It's interesting to see whether she becomes familiar with this role. It could be her future in the Arsenal team, maybe. And the photo from Viv and Rafaela, the most positive thing is they both seem to be okay. They were substituted against Chelsea, and I was a bit concerned about both, but they seem to be okay, and they're playing for their country. So let's hope they will be back without injuries then.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, it is interesting that Leah Williamson is playing in midfield for England. She has done for quite a while now. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I do not think that Alex Greenwood is a better defender than Leah Williamson. I just don't think she is. She's playing there. Leah Williamson. I'm not saying that Leah Williamson can't play in midfield because she's played well there, but I'm not having it that she's a better defender than Leah Williamson. Leah Williamson should be playing in defence. Her and Millie Bright is that what a defence that is. Let's be honest. That's a pretty solid defence. They're the best two. They're the best two centre backs in the WSL, I think. The pair of them two. And Alex Greenwood playing there.
I was going to say Emma Hayes was saying on the commentary that her and Walsh in the centre of the park is a pretty good combination as well. But when you see where she plays for Arsenal, I feel that she's more suited to centre back.
Yeah, she is. I think so. But anyway, I mean, it's the way it is. Obviously, the new coach for England maybe prefers Leah Williamson in midfield. She's doing okay there. Let's be honest. I mean, I don't mind her playing there, but obviously, it's for me. I think she's a better defender than Alex Greenwood. But there you go. That's down to the manager. And Sang-Yuk says there her best game was against us. She was a remarkable player, best right hand amongst defenders. It was a good save, wasn't it, from Leah Williamson, of course, in that game. So that was good to see. But we could have had 2 penalties anyway. But so if you want to talk about penalties, that's fine. We can talk about penalties that we never got as well all night. So that's cool. I mean, Matt, did you watch the Lionesses game yesterday? Have you watched much of the international games? Are you going to plan to watch any more this week?
Yeah, I managed to catch the Germany Spain game. It is available on the FA player. I know they released that information really late.
That is true. That is,
for everyone that couldn't get it worldwide. The main issue, I think we've got some good games ahead. It'll be a good indicator of where every team stands. They've said that Germany didn't put out a really strong team, but they did really well, to be honest. They were really well structured. They were a very typical German team, to be honest. By that, I mean, all compliments, I mean, not like being dirty and typical, I don't know, but just pick a random country and they'll fit you into the next country. But I thought it's a really interesting competition. I mean, the She Believes Cup we've been in a couple of times, and we've come out third, second, first, fourth, and whereas this is more about let's see how we can do against some of the world's best. I'm going to be honest. I think Spain are going to be favourites for the Euros. So knock Spain.
It's just Barcelona, isn't it? It's just the Barcelona team, essentially, isn't it? That's what it is. So you know they're going to be good.
And I think Germany are going to be the dark horses. Well, not the dark horse. They're one of the favourites for the tournament.
Netherlands, you can have all the Dutch out. Yeah.
I don't think. I think we've got so many more better teams in front of England that are gonna go and win that trophy ahead of England. I think England will probably be about 8th place to Spain.
Oh, come on!
No.
Enough about the summer. We can talk about that another time. This competition is going to be interesting. I think it will be very
fantastic.
It's a very good indicator of where we are as a team. And I was very surprised that Steph Horton wasn't called up. That's twice now she's
injured. I think.
Last time it was an injury.
Because she didn't play for Man City when they played against Man United, did she? Or against Chelsea?
Played against us, but after she got injured again, I think.
Yeah, she must be injured because she hasn't played for Man City the last couple of games. So maybe that's why. I don't think she's been left out so much. But I actually think her days are numbered anyway because she's getting to the end of her career, isn't she? I think Leah Williams is going to take over as captain anyway. But I don't think she's been dropped, has she? But I agree with you, I think it is a good indicator of where England are because when you think about it, it's some of the best teams are in this competition that we're playing, aren't we? So let's hope that I thought we had a good start. I thought it was a good result against Canada, a good side. Let's see how we get on in the other games, and who knows, maybe be a good warm up for the Euros. I actually think we've got a good chance in the Euros. I don't think we're the 8th best team in it.
I think we can go all the way.
I think we can. We've got a very, very good manager as well now, who's got experience of winning the Euros as well. Let's remember. So, I think we've got a good chance. Obviously, there's good teams in it. We know there's some great teams in it, but we're at home. We've got a decent squad. We've got the strongest league in Europe as well.
Yeah,
so I don't know. I'm confident. I mean, have you been watching much of it, Amar? The international games. I mean, this Arnold Clark Cup does look to be quite a good tournament, actually, doesn't it?
I mean, there's a whole lot of international tournaments going around the world. I was looking at the Cup in Spain. You've got the Tournoi de France, I think, which the Netherlands and Brazil are in, and you've also got the. She believes is a bit disappointing this year. Okay, you got the USA, we got Czech Republic, Iceland, New Zealand. No disrespect to any of those teams, but it's not exactly the strongest. So, and I saw that the USA were held by the Czechs. I'm like, maybe there'll be an even more open World Cup than there was. But this Arnold Clark Cup is good. It fits the best players in the world together. It's good to see, and it's good that ITV have got it. The kickoff times are conventional at 2:30 in the afternoon. Depends on where you are. It's sad for you, Andres. You couldn't quite catch the game yesterday, but hopefully you'll be able to watch the game on Sunday. And in the evening game, it's I think they're playing Canada on Sunday. But it's really good. Olympic champions. You got the strength and depth is great, and I mean it's the more the better, and the quality on show is great, and it allows the fans to really see their favorite players in action. So no, it's good.
And I think as well, it's I think the way that this season's gone so far. And obviously heading in towards the Euros at the end of the season, I think that, this is an opportunity, isn't it? The Euros this summer is to build on the great season that we've just experienced in the WSL, and then to have a great Euro tournament in England as well. And then to really, the women's game has got a great opportunity, hasn't it? Not just in England, but in Europe, to really push on from this point forward. This is such a big year, isn't it, for women's football? And it's going to be great, actually. We're looking forward to the Euros, actually, as well. That is going to be a great competition. We're looking forward to that. We've got a few more comments here saying at least as Spain won't win the Euros. remove the foreigners from the Barca squad and see what you have. Well, you still have a decent team. Let's be honest. Yeah, you take one or two of the, some of the others out, and they're great players, but they've still got a decent team, even just with the Spaniards in. She says Steph cannot lead England to glory. No, I agree. She no longer has the legs. Yeah, I think Leah Williamson's going to be the captain. She's going to lift that Euros in the summer. She's going to lift the WSL. Well, not lift it. She's not captain, but she'll be getting that trophy, and she'll be lifting the Euros in the summer for England as well. It's going to be the year of Leah Williamson, definitely. There's no doubt about that. Terry says, great show, Richard Andreas Amar. I'm glad the GoFundMe is paying off.
I don't need a GoFundMe. Don't need it.
He's a little bit lighter tonight, which is good.
That's better.
I'm not sure that's a good thing or not. And he says, what's Matt going to be singing for us? Well, we'll find out very soon. Matt's big song is coming up, so don't go anywhere.
Oh dear.
And Sanger says, stay safe. Good show, guys. No, thanks for tuning in. You'll have to stay for Matt's song, actually. He's been practicing this for the last 2 weeks.
I thought I'd throw in another stat whilst we were at it as well. Should I throw in another stat?
Yeah, go on.
Amazing stat. I heard that the goalless draw between Chelsea and Arsenal last week was the first time that Chelsea had failed to score at Kings Meadow since we beat them 5-0 in the 2018-19 season. So there you go.
Was it?
Yeah, that's incredibly. That's the last time they'd failed to score at Kings Meadow was when we beat them 5-0.
Did they not lose that home to Brighton last season? Or did
that was 2-1. That was 2-1.
Oh, was it 2-1? Oh,
yeah,
right.
So in fact, the last team to stop Chelsea from scoring at Kings Meadow was Arsenal. So there you go.
Wow, fantastic!
I mean, incredible. They
must have played a few home games in that time as well, mustn't they? So it shows what a good defensive performance that was from us then as well, doesn't it? We did defend well. Yes, they had one or two chances, but so did we. So there you go. But yeah, that's a good stat actually. I like that one. How many games was it though? That's what you need to tell us. How many home games was it?
No, I don't know because it's 3.5 seasons. That must be about best part of 60 games or something like that.
Well, there you go. That's fantastic, isn't it? So, I mean, when was the last time we didn't score in a home game in the WSL? Actually,
that's a very good question.
I can't remember us not scoring. I know we didn't score
at home in the league.
Villa.
Yeah, the 0-0. Right, the 0-0 last season. Of course it was. Yeah,
Villa.
Yeah. It's easy to forget that game, actually, isn't it? Because with everything, we got the third spot and we were happy about that. And it came in between them FA Cup games and we were scoring loads of goals. That maybe still. You're right, actually, Aston Villa. Yeah. So the last home game of last season. So that actually wasn't that long ago, was it? Actually.
No.
But that must be the only one in a long time, though, mustn't it? Because before that, I can't remember the last one before that. So we've probably only had maybe one in the last 60, 70 games. Maybe who knows? It'll be a long time, certainly. But yeah, so that was pretty okay. Right, I suppose we can't end the show any other way than with Matt's latest song. The last one was really good, even though he got the country wrong, but the song was good. Let's hope today he's got the words right and everything, and we look forward to this. It's going to be good. So this is going to be Matt's new player chant of the week. We're going to call it Matt's chant. I have to do a little jingle for it. Actually, I have to start a jingle for Matt's chant of the week, and then we can do it. It'll be really good.
Yeah, let's count them in.
Yeah, let's count him in so he does it right. Are you ready, Matt?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, Matt's ready.
Right.
So
3, 2,
1,
go.
Then I went to IKEA to buy some furniture. Instead, he found a striker called Stina. She scores with her left foot. She scores with her right. And when she scores a belter, we'll sing all night.
That's brilliant. Oh, that's Matt's new song there for Stina. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff that Jonas found in IKEA. That's great. So there you go.
That's brilliant.
That's fantastic. That is definitely going to catch on that one. What you need to do now is next week at Liverpool in the FA Cup, you need to get up and sing that and get everyone to sing it with you. That would be good.
7 out of 10. Sang you up, lose Goonie 7. That's good, yeah.
You have to get the whole crowd to sing it. And you got a 7 out of 10 there from a Chelsea fan in the house. So that's not a bad score for a Chelsea fan. So that's good. You'll have to sing a song about Emma Hayes next week just to get but keep it clean.
A song about Liverpool or something, yeah.
But that was a good song. I enjoyed that. That was really good, actually. That was definitely worth everybody staying tuned to the end of the show for that moment of magic from Magic Man Matt, as Terry likes to call him. There you go. That was good stuff, actually. So that's the new song. That's the new song for Stina. That's going to be sung every game coming up over the next few weeks. That's going to be good. So stay around for that. And if you're going to attend the game in the next few weeks, you'll have to listen out for Matt's songs because they're going to be catching on. Everyone will be singing them soon. Don't worry about that. They'll be the next big thing. So that was really good. Fantastic. So obviously we don't have a game this weekend, of course. There's because the international stuff like that. So we are back. Our next game, of course, it is next weekend, isn't it? On Sunday, the FA Cup, 5th round against Liverpool, of course, away. And Matt's actually done a really good video for us, a kind of a match day guide. He went to Liverpool when they played last week, and he's put together a little video there of the stadium and that kind of stuff, where the best place to go, some pubs and stuff like that. So I've put the video together. I'll be putting it out early this week, probably on Monday. So if anybody's planning on going to Liverpool, definitely watch that video because it will give you a good idea of where you need to be and stuff like that. So that'll be good. That's be going out on a little bit of insight into their team as well, because obviously you watch the game. So that'll be coming out maybe on Monday. I think I'll put it out so people have got a chance to look at that before making their plans for next weekend to get to the game. So that's going to be good. And then, of course, we'll be back with the women's show next Friday to look ahead to that Liverpool game and talk about some other interesting stuff that's going on in the world of Arsenal women's football in general. So that'll be next week. I'll be back tomorrow actually with the watch along Arsenal against Brentford in the Premier League. An unusual Saturday game for the Arsenal men, actually, which is nice. So I'll be going live about 2:45 for that one. And of course, the big news actually is the game against Tottenham at the Emirates, the Arsenal women against Tottenham at the Emirates at the end of March. We'll all be there, all four of us, won't we? So that's going to be good. So what we'll have to do is we'll all have to meet up during the game. I know we're sitting in different parts of the or in the same stand, but different sections of it. So we'll all have to meet up at half time, before the game, after the game, and we'll do a great vlog of the game. We'll all give our thoughts on everything, and that'd be great to meet up and stuff like that. That'd be cool. So that's all coming up.
Richard, you'll be pleased to know that my dad might want to meet us all after as well.
Really? Oh, but you can come back to our hotel again. That'd be good. We'll do that afterwards. That'd be pretty cool.
Not to the game, but maybe just somewhere after. Yeah.
No, that'd be fine. Yeah. Well, so we're staying in. We're not in a hotel so much this time. We've got like a little Airbnb. So we've got a kitchen and all that. So just up Holloway Road. So we're staying there. So
3 days after the Wolfsburg game as well. So you got.
So we're coming down on a Wednesday for the Wolfsburg game. Then we're going to Wolfsburg game. We're staying until Sunday, so we're getting both games. Got a special offer on the tickets for the two games for for not quite two for the price of one, but it was a bit cheaper. So we're doing both the games. That's going to be really good. Looking forward to that. So there'll be loads and loads of videos coming out at that time at the end of the month for those two games. It'd be great to meet up with you guys as well. I know, obviously, I met you. I met Amar and Matt, of course, at Wembley recently for the Cup final. It'd be great to meet Andreas as well. That's going to be really good. Look forward to that. That's going to be a great few days there. Hopefully, two really good games as well. Two big games, actually. Exciting stuff coming up for the Arsenal. But of course, there's a lot more games to play before that, so we can't get too carried away. There's a few more games we need to win in the meantime. I'll say starting next Sunday, of course, at Liverpool in the FA Cup. Which is going to be, I'm sure, Matt, you're going to that game, aren't you? You will be, won't you?
The North London derby, yeah.
No, the Liverpool game.
No, the Liverpool FA Cup.
Yes, I've got all I have. Yeah, the Liverpool one, I will be there.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, that's going to be a good game as well. Actually, it'd be interesting, kind of, to see the very top team in the Championship against a very top team in the WSL and see how that goes. And Terry says there, don't forget to get some stories of Amar's dad. Amar can't be as sweet as he looks. Amar's dad is an absolute legend. Don't worry about that. He is an absolute legend. And I really look forward to meeting up with him as well at the Emirates in a few weeks' time. That's going to be great. He's a good guy. He's funny, fantastic company. So really looking forward to that. And we'll get some stuff on him on video as well, Terry. So you can see exactly how funny he is as well. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Obviously, Amar doesn't get his humour from his dad, clearly. But anyway.
I'll get most of my humour from my dad, but yeah.
Maybe he'll give you some more stats as well that you can bring on the show. But no, that'll be really good. Andy's just popped in as well, a little bit late. He says, "Good evening. Guess I'll have to watch the recording." But watch it back. There's been some good stuff on the show tonight. I'm sure you enjoy it. It's always a good show, as you know. So good to see you anyway, and hopefully we'll see you very soon. I'll be back tomorrow for the Brentford game and watch along 2:45 for that one, and then we'll have Matt's video out on Monday. We'll have the Tuesday clinic again on Tuesday, looking back on the Brentford game, looking ahead to Wolves as well. The men playing twice this week, and then of course Friday or Thursday I'll have to watch along on Wolves, and then of course Friday we'll be back with the women's show, and then of course the Liverpool game watch along next Sunday, that is. So lots coming up on the channel, so if you haven't done so, please consider subscribing and giving it a like as well before you leave. Andreas, good to have you back again as always. Did you enjoy the show?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed talking about everything that develops. And next Friday, it's not only the Liverpool match; it's 3 days later the home match against Reading.
It's Reading, right? That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, so
We have to
two
discuss.
games. Yeah, 2 games. Talk about it next week. Exactly. Yeah, no, that'd be good as well. Important game that, as we said, one of the more difficult looking games. So
yeah.
Very tough game. They're all going to be tough, but yeah, that one looks to be especially tough. So yeah, that's going to be interesting as well. Matt, as well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for your song. Fantastic entertainment that was. And I say your video will come out on Monday, so that'll be good as well. You enjoyed the show?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Thank you for that. I think it'll be really good because the guys, obviously, Prenton Park's quite famous around this sort of part, but obviously people coming from the south, so it's quite important that people get to know what's in the area, especially food wise. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'll make sure I share it around on social media as well, so that we've all got it's spread out a little bit more. So I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks. That's for sure.
No, there's some big games coming up. It's an exciting time of the season. This is always the big part of the year, isn't it? You know, the sort of February to April time when things are decided, or you certainly go a long way to deciding things. You know, you've got big cup games, you've got important league games, and it's great that the Arsenal women are heavily involved in all this stuff. Champions League, some great stuff to come, isn't there, over the next few weeks? So obviously we'll have it all covered on the channel as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. And Amar as well. You enjoyed the show again.
Yeah,
good to see you a bit more light this week as well.
No, I don't know. It's nothing to do with electric. I don't know what it is, but anyway, it's just this office site. It's just a bit weird. Maybe I just need to go in my bedroom or something. But anyway, it was really good.
No, it was good. Yeah, so some good ideas actually what you put forward for improving the women's game. Let's hope the people involved watch the show at some point and take on board some of our ideas maybe and put them into practice, because I think that would help to improve the women's game. But we won't hold our breath because money tends to rule everything, doesn't it, unfortunately? Terry says there, night all and night's all in the chat. Yeah, and to you, Terry. Hopefully, might see you tomorrow for a watch along, maybe if you're around at quarter to 3. Pop in and say hello tomorrow in the Brentford game, which hopefully a good win for Arsenal. We've got no scores to predict tonight, which I'm a bit disappointed about for the women actually, because there's no game this week. So
it was next week.
I like predicting scores because I like to get Matt's predictions in because they're always so good.
Next week. Yeah,
we've got 2 to predict next week, so we'll save it up for then. So we look forward to that. That's going to be good.
Good to have you back.
So that'll be see how many goals Matt thinks we'll lose by. That's always exciting. And don't forget a new song as well for next week, Matt. As well, we need from you a new one. We've got 2 good ones so far. What we do actually at the end of the season, we have to put a compilation together. And,
playlist.
That'll be good.
We're on a CD.
Release a CD. That'll be good. Yeah, release a CD at the end of the season. Yeah, Matt's chance. That'll be brilliant. That.
Triple M. Magic Man, Matt's chance. Magic Man, Matt's chance.
Yeah, it'll be brilliant. That.
MMC.
Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. We look forward to that. And Sam Lee says night. And to you as well. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you again very soon. Andy says good night. Good night, Andy, as well. Hopefully see you soon. And Terry says be there tomorrow. Yeah, not look forward to that, Terry. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow in the chat for the Brentford game. Sorry, that is going to be really good. So yeah, a great show tonight. We enjoyed that as always. Obviously looking back on some big games for the Arsenal women. Putting the world to rights in the women's game as well, which is always nice. And we had a Chelsea fan in as well, which was nice, wasn't it? A little bit of banter there, which is always good to see. And hopefully it's going to be a good battle, isn't it, between now and the end of the season between us again, as it's been before. And hopefully may the best team win as long as it's us. That's what we say. And I'm sure it will be, but we'll see what happens there. Terry says can I have a signed copy of the CD in case you make it this time? Yeah, well, we'll sort you out with one, Terry. Don't worry about that. You've been a big part of encouraging us to do this. So you'll definitely get a free signed CD from Matt Roberts there, which is going to be great. It'll definitely be a bestseller in the charts. There's no doubt about that. As you know, imagine you've got Arsenal women win the WSL, win the Champions League. Matt releases his CD. What's the biggest event that's going to happen? It'll be the release of the CD, won't it? Clearly. So that's what it'll be. So forget about winning the league.
It's just a start.
Yeah, that's just a side show. It's Matt's CD and what everyone wants. So we'll sort it out at the end of the season. So that'll be good. Actually, what we might do, maybe we'll give it away as a prize on the channel, maybe. We'll have a competition, and that'll be the prize. of Matt's CDs. That'll be good.
We'll do an auction. Do an auction.
An auction, yeah, that's a good idea. We can raise money for charity or something, can't we? Have it as a charity single. That'll be good. It'll definitely sell well. That will. These are all plans for later in the year. What we'll have to do actually is maybe record one live at the Emirates for the Tottenham game.
Oh no!
It'd be like a live concert you could do on as a live. That'd be good. You have to book your tickets now because people now. What we're going to have to do is we'll promote this and then Arsenal will sell a lot more tickets at the Emirates because they want to see a match chant
do
live.
A poster, yeah, do a little flyer outside, yeah.
Match chant live today at the Emirates.
Triple MC live.
Yeah, it'd be good that. So we'll sell a load of tickets for that. That'd be good. So if Arsenal want any help to sift a few more tickets for the Tottenham game,
absolutely.
Let's get in touch and we'll get Matt on the bill. Maybe do it on the pitch actually before the game to get the crowd warmed up. That'd be good, wouldn't it? We'll have to see if we can arrange that. Get Matt on the pitch before the game.
I think you might have had too many drinks there, Richard.
Well, you know, at the FA Cup final, they had that woman on the pitch, didn't they, singing the national anthem? What we'll do at the Emirates for the Tottenham game, we'll get Matt on the pitch singing his Arsenal winning song instead. That would be much better. I think that'll be good. So we'll have to organise that. We'll have to have a word with the Arsenal, whoever organises that at Arsenal, and see if they'll do it.
No pressure, Matt. No pressure.
Yeah, it'd be good. It'd be good that. So that's what we'll do. But anyway, yeah, we'll call some live stuff at that game anyway. So that'll be good fun. So yeah, loads of stuff coming up. So join me tomorrow for the Arsenal Brentford game in the Premier League. That's going to be good. We'll be back next Friday with a women's show, of course, as always, with a lot of good stuff coming up. A lot of big women's games coming up over the next few weeks as well. So that's going to be great stuff. It'd be great to see you guys in the chat again as well. So thanks, of course, as always, to Andreas. Fantastic to have you back on the show again, as always. Matt as well. Some great stuff there from you tonight as well. Fantastic song. You got it right. You got the words right this time. And Amar as well. Thanks for joining us again. We look forward to seeing you all next week. And I'll see you tomorrow at 3:15. Hopefully Arsenal can get a good result as well for the men again. Keep their top four hopes alive as well in that. So all going well at the minute for Arsenal so far. So that's good. And also, I'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you next week. In the meantime, of course, as always, come on, you Gunners. Come on. See you next week, guys. Take it easy. I'll see you tomorrow for the Arsenal game. Take it easy, guys.